the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
This portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series is brought to you by Coach's Corner. There's no place like home. Airborne Graphics, Arts Barbershop, White Knuckle Clothing, Best Colorful Creations, and Brian Rogers Motorsports, proud sponsor of the Brian Rogers Motorsports Rookie of the Year.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to Martinsville Speedway for the Upstate Racing League's Rumar Vinyl Designs 125, the second race of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series race or chase for the championship. My name is Kelly Dahl. Alongside with me is Roger Muth, and as always, KR Stolfus getting the picture to you and also letting us know what happens when we get a caution, which I think tonight we may have a few of those because this is Martinsville, a very one-lane track, and Roger, we've seen this before. These guys are not afraid to lay the bumper to one another.
Yeah, a couple of these hard-nosed racers definitely not afraid to put the front bumper to the rear bumper of any of these drivers. This is Martinsville. Only a half-mile little track, paperclip-shaped corners, one-lane groove to the bottom. Get the car a little bit too close to that yellow line down on the inside, though, going to shoot you up the track and hope that nobody's either to the outside of you by a little bit, or hope that nobody's too close to you in the rear end, or well, going to cause havoc. Also down the straightaways, if anybody gets tangled up, these are narrow straightaways, so something we're going to have to take a little caution here for these drivers tonight.
Matt Cucker is trying to go back-to-back. We also saw him win the All-Star race, but I think every single car in that All-Star race was banged up at least a little bit by the end of that race, so really for Cucker to go back-to-back, he has to somehow get through Martinsville unscathed. And that is much more easier said than done. As you said, Roger, this track is very narrow, and it's just a one-lane racetrack. You really just have to be on the bottom. There is no second lane. There's no banking here. You can't try to run the top line because there is no top line in the corner. So these guys are definitely going to be bumping and banging, and I think that's going to be the most difficult part of this race is to try to get through it without any major damage.
Yeah, that's going to be something to watch out for. Another thing to watch out for is we talk about it week in and week out. These guys who start the race, they're going to have to finish the race on those same exact tires. So tire management here from Martinsville is going to be something to watch out for as you come down these long straightaways, and you're going to have to be really hard on the brakes, especially through the corners, concrete corners, asphalt straightaways. And track temp tonight up over 100 degrees once again. Martinsville does not have any lights, so we will continue this entire race here in the daylight.
Now, Kate, taking a quick look at your points, Matt Cucker currently leads the chase point standings after winning last week, but he's only got a 9-point lead over Chris Stump, who is kind of our rookie sensation this season, and Sean Cool just a couple points behind him, as well as Steph Marinac. But the biggest story is Justin McDuff, our number 2 seed, sitting all the way down in 9th. So in front of him, he is AJ Hamill in 5th, Guillaume Fortin in 6th, Al Smith in 7th, Brian Rogers currently holding on to 8th, and just behind him, Andy Lambert is currently running in the tail end of the chase standings. But Justin McDuff, he was kind of poised to be one of those guys in the hunt, but just ended up having some problems last week, kind of had to drop out early on, and that just killed him in the point standings. He's now sitting 43 points back from Matt Cucker, so the question now is it possible for McDuff to rebound after that disaster of a race?
Well, McDuff, one of those guys we see week in, week out, running towards the front of the field. Right now, he sits 6th here on the practice charts. He's had 7 top 5, so that moves him towards the top of the field with season stats. And it's still early. Chase, only a handful of races, 4 counting tonight left. So he only has a handful of races, but there's still time for him. There is a 43 gap between him and Matt Cucker, but still not that far back that it's insurmountable. Look for Justin McDuff to rebound here, though, at Martinsville tonight.
I think for McDuff to be able to rebound, though, he has to not only have a good race himself, he has to hope for pretty much everyone else to have just an awful race, because that is at least a bit of he may be able to gain on one driver, but then as soon as if Cucker has a bad race, well, then Chris Stump is going to be still way ahead of him in points. So McDuff really just has to make no mistakes for these last 4 races to have even a chance of this. Just hope for some bad luck to maybe come across some of these other guys, but towards the front of the field, though, it is a very tight race because, as I mentioned, Stump is 9 points behind him, and then separating him and the second place, or him in second place with Sean Cool in third, Steph Marinac in fourth. That's only 3 points separating those 3 drivers. So this is a very tight chase standings right now. Well, one of these drivers is running a special paint scheme, and we decided to catch up with him real quick and maybe allow him to give us an explanation of what that paint scheme exactly is. The driver of the number 34, Jeremy Watkins. So if you guys keep an eye out on him, you'll be able to see that special paint design. And Jeremy, why don't you just tell us a little bit about the scheme you're running tonight?
Oh, it's the armor unit I was in from 1990 to 95 for Desert Storm. They're having a reunion in May back out at Fort Riley, Kansas, and talked to a couple of guys, and they asked me if I would be willing to paint it up and kind of advertise it out there tonight.
Well, it's definitely a nice looking scheme, and I mean, hopefully it's a little bit of a good luck kind of symbol for you. But what are you really looking for out of this race?
To be honest, just to survive, kind of take what I can get and stay out of everybody's way if I can.
And we've been talking to ourselves about this race, and what about you? What are you expecting? Like, are you expecting it to be a very rough and tumble race, or are you expecting these guys to be a bit more clean around this racetrack?
Just running around out in practice with tonight. Everybody seems to be running pretty clean, but we'll see how that goes in the race. I think it'll be pretty clean. It's not too big of a field tonight, not a full field, I don't believe.
All right, Jeremy, thank you for coming out and talking to us. But before we let you go, we're going to kind of give you the mic here, give you the floor, and I'll allow you to maybe give any shout-outs you wish to give while you have this opportunity.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank Al for allowing me to race, and mostly I thank my wife for letting me be able to race when I can.
All right, Jeremy, thank you for coming to talk to us, and we'll let you get back to practice, and hopefully you'll have some good luck out there wearing that special paint scheme.
Thank you guys very much.
That's Jeremy Watkins running that special number 34 paint scheme, representing his armored unit that he was served with in Desert Storm. Roger, I think that's just one of the great things about this league is just all the these guys all bring out special paint schemes at different times, and there's some fantastic cars in these fields.
Yeah, a lot of times these guys really paint up cars that kind of mean something to them, and that's exactly what Jeremy Watkins did tonight. You know, serving in the military, it's more like a brotherhood. It's a badge that you're always going to wear, and right now he's out here at Martinsville. He's going to wear the badge for his brothers and try to do them proud here from Martinsville. So we're all going to have to keep an eye out on the 34 Jeremy Watkins today, because that's a very interesting paint scheme. I know we only had a brief couple moments here to speak with him, but I'm sure there's a lot more behind the scenes that driver 34 would like to talk about his comrades in arms. So we're just going to have to keep an eye out on him. I'm almost speechless because it's such a good story. We just don't have the time to quite share it, and Jeremy, up here with us.
Moving on now to another driver, a driver that's currently in that chase, sitting in 8th place in the points at the moment. It's a driver of the number 12, Brian Rogers Jr. Brian, we've been thinking about it. We've been asking some of the other guys, what are you expecting from this race here tonight? Are you thinking that these guys are going to be able to, you and everyone else, are going to be able to keep it clean, or do you think tempers are going to flare and we're going to see some real short track racing?
It's Martinsville. It's gonna happen.
Well, after the first race in the chase, you fell down the standings just a couple positions, currently sitting in 8th. And what's really your plan with these last 4 races to try to claw your way back up to the front?
I don't really know. Last week was normally one of my best tracks, and it just didn't work. So hopefully this week we can come out with at least a top 5 or better.
Well, after Martinsville, we've also got the Bullring, Myrtle Beach, and New Smyrna. Are any of those 3 kind of jumping out at you for a track where you can gain some points back?
Bullring, that's another good track I actually like. I'm actually looking forward to that track next week, so I'm just gonna get through this week for the best.
Well, just in a couple minutes time, we'll be moving on to qualifying. And what do you think the qualifying strategy is gonna be here at this track?
Qualifying up front. I mean, it's gonna be nose to tail for a little while until we get spread out, but pretty much you got to qualify up front.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for coming and talk to us. Before we let you go, though, we're going to give you the floor and allow you to give any shout-outs you might wish to give.
I got to thank Al for doing the paint scheme on my car. I got to thank you guys for all you do for us, and everyone that races with us makes this probably one of the best leagues around.
All right, Brian, thanks for coming to talk to us, and good luck to you for this race.
All right, thank you guys very much.
That was Brian Rogers, driver of the number 12 machine, and one of our contenders in the chase for the championship. Currently sitting in 8th place, sitting a few points back from the next position, but I think he still does have a chance at this. We've talked about how Justin McDuff has a chance. I think Brian Rogers still has a chance as well. He's sitting a few points ahead of McDuff, sitting 35 points back of Cucker. So if Brian can string together a couple good races, he says he's good at the track we're going to be racing at next week. I think he may have still have a shot at this.
Yeah, he might be good next week at the Bullring, but first he's going to have to survive the paperclip here from Martinsville. Brian Rogers, not only one of the drivers here in the chase, but also sponsors our Rookie of the Year contenders, the Brian Rogers Motorsports Rookie of the Year chase. So he's kind of pulling double duty there.
All right, quick look at our practice times as practice is just about to wind up. Steph Marinat currently sitting at the top of the board with a 26.12. Guillaume Fortin sitting 7 thousandths of a second behind him in second place. Then we see Chris Stump, Matt Cucker, and Dylan Canova rounding out our top 5 in practice. And a couple of those fast times were recently set because a cloud did just kind of roll over for a moment, and those drivers that were already out on a flying lap were able to set down some fast times. So that did shake things up a little bit, but I think it's names that we're kind of used to seeing all up front. But checkers are now going to wave on practice, and we're going to move on to qualifying. But we're going to take this quick step aside and take a quick break of our own. When we return, we'll be getting to qualifying in the Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series for the Upstate Racing League. This is the Rumar Vinyl Designs 125. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. We're getting set for qualifying for the Rumar Vinyl Designs 125, the Upstate Racing League Coaches Corner Pro Late Model Series, where we're getting ready for group number 1. That's going to be the 61 of Danny Dubuque, the 89 of Thomas Mateer, the 90 of Matt Roll, the 5 of Rex Hoyle, and the 30 of Will Dravicki. Cars are now being waved out. This group is going to be led by Will Dravicki, and we're going to see who's going to be able to set the fastest time on this first qualifying group. Fastest time that we saw in practice was a 20.1 or 6:12. So that's going to be kind of our benchmark. We'll have to see what the weather's going to be like. Right now it's bright, sunny, hot on the racetrack, but we saw the clouds roll out in practice. This is why those practice times were so fast. But Will Dravicki now going down the back straightaway, seeming like he's got a pretty decent lap. He's kept that car nice and tidy for the most part. I haven't seen that thing step out at all. Kept it tight to the line in the corners. Gonna cross the line with a 21.075. Matt Roll with a 21.395. Just behind him, Danny Dubuque's gonna get a 21.354 at 21.160 for Rex Hoyle.
Couple fast times there from those guys, but let's see what these guys are able to do here on their second lap. Matt Roll going to come across the line here. Doesn't look like Matt Roll is going to go any. Actually, he does go a little bit faster. Sorry, he goes with a 21.223 on his second lap. Rex Hoyle going to also better his lap. He's going to go 21.123. So Will Dravicki, though, being the fastest out of these 4 drivers out on track this time, and he only put in 1 time lap. So maybe the one and done strategy is going to be the way to go here.
Yeah, but it looks like the 3 guys that did take a second lap did do well or better on that second lap, but we'll have to see what everyone else is going to do. But we're getting ready for group number 2. That's going to be the number 1 of Jeremy Carpenter, the 34 of Jeremy Watkins, the 22 of Mike Holtzclaw, and the 16 of Paul Henley. Group is now being waved out on the racetrack. Got Henley leading off this group. He's going to go way up high from turns 3 and 4, trying to get as much of a starting jump as he can on that opening straightaway. Now the clock is running for that 16 machine. Henley now coming through turns 3 and 4, getting all the way down to that curve. And looks like he had a little bit of a bobble. We'll see if that affects his time. And come across the stripe with a 21.348, so that might have actually affected his time a little bit. Carpenter with a 21.650, Jeremy Watkins 21.7, and Mike Holtzclaw with a 21.4. So none of those guys are able to quite touch Will Dravicki's time. We'll see if these guys are going to be any faster on that second lap. Across the line for Henley, and he is not going to improve his time. Carpenter will go up to a 21.530. Watkins not going to be able to improve his time, and neither will Holtzclaw. So some of these guys are able to improve on that second lap, some aren't.
Yeah, something I did notice there, once that second group there went out for qualifying, the track temperature after their first lap went up about 4 degrees. So track temperature is starting to climb a little bit. Right now it's at 114 degrees here.
Getting set for our next group. Group number 3, that's going to be the 7 of Dylan Canova, the 81 of James McIntyre, 77 of Andy Lambert, and the 02 machine of Josh Mayu. Race control now sending these guys out onto the racetrack, and Andy Lambert in that 77 machine, one of our chase contenders, going to be our first driver out on the track for this group. And as mentioned, the track temp is climbing 114 degrees, which is kind of surprising considering the air temperature is only 77 degrees, but that sun is just beating down on this racetrack as it's pretty much right overhead with it being 2 o'clock. And it's kind of just heating up that race surface, even if it isn't heating up the air all that much. Track now up to 115 as 77 goes through turns 3 and 4. I'm sure these later groups are hoping for a cloud to roll out when they come out for their lap times. And Andy Lambert going to be 21.5 for him. Going to be a 21.373 for James McIntyre Jr. Dylan Canova sets a pretty decent time with a 21.2. And we also got, we've got Josh Mayu setting a 21.475. So Andy Lambert going to come across the line in the second lap. He's going to improve with a 21.470. James McIntyre Jr. not able to improve on his second lap. Dylan Canova able to improve. He's going to sit comfortably in third place for the time being with a 21.129, just 0.06 of a second off from Rex Hoyle. And that 02 is going to be able to improve his time slightly, putting him up to 9th for the time being with a 21.424. Now we're getting set for group number 4, getting the 24 of Sean Cool, the 13 of Guillaume Fortin, the 20 of Justin McDuff, and the 12 of Brian Rogers Jr.
Another car there in line, Kelly. That's going to be the 45. Did you say Doug Wysocki? I may have missed it.
I did miss the 45. I didn't realize we were going 5 cars for this group, but the 45 Wysocki is out with these guys as well, and Guillaume Fortin going to lead this group.
And my bad, I was just looking through the scoring there. I'm like, wait, I think I see a 5th car, but Guillaume Fortin going to be the guy who leads this next group here out to take the green flag as you see him come off turn 2 now. Looks like Guillaume having a good little run here on the first 2 corners. I see maybe a little bit of a bobble that's going to wash the car up just a little bit coming through turns 3 and 4 there. Guillaume had a good practice time. Let's see if he's going to be able to back it up here at the line. Let's see where he's going to wind up. Looks like a 21.411 for Guillaume. Looks like Justin McDuff going to go up to 4th, though, with a 21.195. John Cool right now still waiting for his time to come across the board. Not sure if Sean may have scraped the wall there.
Brian Rogers, though, was able to put down a 21.386. And yeah, I think there was a bit of a timing error with Sean Cool as he has not been able to set a lap time so far. Now I'm going to come across the line, and he'll go with a 21.303. So I think you may be right. He may have scraped the wall on his first lap there, and that definitely would cost him, because we've seen sometimes that first lap is the flyer, the lap to get, and if you scrape the wall, you kind of have to end up going with that slower lap time. But it's still a respectable time for Sean Cool, but still no one's been able to take down Will Dravicki. He was part of our very first group, and now we're getting ready for group number 5, one of our, I think, our second to last group.
Yeah, your group coming up here is going to be the number 98 of Chris Stump, the number 18 of AJ Hamill. I believe the 69 of Matt Cucker also going to be in this group, along with the 96 of Al Smith Jr. and Steph Marinac in the number 2.
Our second to last group, is anyone going to be able to take down Will Dravicki, or is he going to stay up there for the entire qualifying session? Time is now running for that 88 machine of, or sorry, the 98 of Chris Stump. And we're going to see what he can do. He's normally a very fast qualifier, but it almost looked like he may have made a slight mistake through turns 1 and 2. See if he can keep that car nice and tidy through turns 3 and 4. Coming in, carrying a lot of speed into that corner, but sliding up a little bit. Track is getting even hotter now as he comes across the line. 21.174 for Chris Stump. 21.565 for AJ Hamill. Matt Cucker with a 21.136. And Steph Marinac getting a slow time, 31.9. So I think possibly a problem for Steph Marinac. And I think we saw the 96 hit the wall after taking his lap, and I don't think that's key. I think he's actually going to not actually be scored on a lap. I didn't see any time come up for the 96 of Al Smith Jr., so possibly a scoring error for him. Steph Marinac, though, on his second lap, able to get down a 21.221.
So a little bit of problems for the 96 of Al Smith as he had to tow and take that 96 machine back to the garage. He's not going to put a time in, but he's going to be in the field with the number of cars that are here tonight. He'll just have to start shotgun on the field, so he's going to have a lot of ground to make up through the race here tonight.
That's definitely going to be a tall hill to climb for that 96 machine. As now we're getting set for our final group of qualifying, the 41 of AJ Childs and the 89 of Thomas Mateer. And we've been saying that this is a supposed to be kind of a handicap, running the faster guys towards the end of the qualifying session, and it has definitely worked that way at this track, as the track has just been getting heated up by all these cars running across it, as the track is now 117 degrees. So AJ Childs, sorry?
I was going to say, this is not the time that AJ Childs really wants to go out there with a track temp at 117 degrees. That concrete's going to be slippy going down into the corners.
The only car going out for this qualifying group is Thomas Mateer. Will not be around to set a qualifying time, but we'll see what the 41 can do as he goes into turn 3 and 4, looking like he's a little bit high. So I don't think this is going to be a good lap time for that 41 car, as he was probably carrying a little bit too much speed for the track temperature. Yeah, 21.915 for that 41 car, as I think he just kind of getting caught out by the lack of grip in the corners, as that concrete is very hot. Now coming off the final corner for the last time, across the line, and it's a 21.713, so it's not able to, he improves his time, but not able to improve his position just yet. So AJ Child's going to be starting in 22nd, and our Rumar Vinyl Designs pole award is going to go to Will Dravicki. I think this is the first time we've seen it where a driver sets the fastest time in the first group and holds on to that time for the entire qualifying session. So congratulations to the driver of the number 30. That's definitely a fast time set by him. We're going to take a quick step aside and play our national anthems as we get set for the starting grid of the Rumar Vinyl Designs 125.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous flight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This portion of the Upstate Racing League's Coach's Corner Pro Late Model Series on MaxSpeedTV is brought to you by Rumar Vinyl Designs. Let us get stuck on you. Lightning Strikes Pro Shop and Hanson's Starter Shop.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. The qualifying is over, the grid is set, and we're getting set for race number 2 of the chase. Will Javicki wins the Rumar Vinyl Designs pole award with a 21.075. He'll be starting number 1 on the field. Rex Hoyle will be starting on his outside. Third place is going to go to Dylan Canova. Matt Cucker going to roll off in 4th with Chris Stump right behind him in 5th. Justin McDuff going to be trying to come back after his issues of last week with starting in 6th. Steph Marinak going to roll off in 7th. Guillaume Fortin going to be on his outside in 8th. Matt Roll starting in 9th. Sean Cool in that 24 machine going to be starting in 10th. 11th going to go to the 61 of Danny Dubuque, and 12th is going to be the 16 of Paul Henley.
Starting in your 13th position, driving the number 81 here tonight, James McIntyre Jr. Right alongside him in the number 12, Brian Rogers Jr. will roll off 14th. 15th going to go to the 18 of AJ Hamill. Mike Holtzclaw in the 22 going to start 16th here tonight. 17th starting position is going to go to the 02 of Josh Mayu. The 45 of Douglas Wysocki going to start there in your 18th starting position. 19th starting position going to go to the 77 of Andy Lambert. Number 1 of Jeremy Carpenter going to start 20th on the field. 21st going to go to the 34 of Jeremy Watkins. The 41 of AJ Childs going to start 22nd. Starting 23rd going to be the 96 of Al Smith Jr. Thomas Mateer not here to make the grid, but he is slotted in your 24th position, and that will round out your starting field here tonight for Martinsville.
Pace car down and away, but the drivers are instructed to not fire until exiting turn number 4. Everyone is antsy and ready to go though. Pace car down and away, green flag is out, and we are racing for the second race of the chase. Will Javicki getting a great launch. Rex Hoyle trying to challenge him to the outside, though not going to give up that position, but he goes a little bit high, and he is going to lose that ground. Now he's side by side with Dylan Canova. That 30 machine is free and clear, and now I'm going to try to open up as much of a gap while these guys battle for the positions. Bit of a bump between the 2 and the 98. Stump wiggles that car, but able to hold on to it, loses a bit of ground. That's going to allow that 69 machine to slot into that lower lane in front of him, but he's now going to encounter a bit of a roadblock with the 70 and the 5 side by side still, as Rex Hoyle does not want to give up the position, knowing that if he gives up to the 70, he's just going to be freight trained, but I don't think he's going to have much of a choice, as that outside line is not going to be able to work on this track. Now he's going to lose out the 70, and the 69 gets his nose in there. He might be able to steal away that position. Rex Hoyle has got to figure out a way to get himself down to that bottom line. Door to door now with the 69 car, as that 30 is starting to just drive away from these guys. Already opened up a 7/10 of a second gap, as everyone else is just battling it out for these starting positions.
Yeah, Rex Hoyle not able to find a way to the inside lane yet, as Matt Cucker right now still has the inside advantage on him. Sooner or later, now Matt Cucker right there, you see him get a great launch off that inside. He's going to clear the 5. The 5 looking to find a spot. He might have just found a spot right there in front of Chris Stump. Nope, Chris Stump's going to throw the nose of that number 98 there in the inside again of Rex Hoyle, so that's going to put Rex Hoyle back to the outside. Now side by side though with Chris Stump. That's a battle for your 4th and your 5th position. Rex Hoyle started on the outside row there in 2nd, now finds himself trying to stay right up here inside the top 5, as looks like Stump's going to get around him. Now he's going to go side by side down the backstretch here with the number 2 Stefan Marinak, and Marinak trying to come up there. Him and Stump had a little bit of a moment in those first opening laps there, but they worked it out, and all's good between those two drivers. But side by side down into turn number 1 again for the number 2 to the inside, 5 on the outside.
And Rex Hoyle continues to move backwards as he loses out the 2, and now the 13 of Fortin going to have his nose to the inside, so he cannot find a way down to the bottom, and that is absolutely killing that 5 machine. Now going banging doors with that 13 car, is Hoyle just trying to find a way to the bottom, and as soon as that 13 is going to get clear, now the 24 of Sean Cool has his nose in there, and he's going to make contact. The 24 goes to the inside. He holds onto his car. Big save from Sean Cool, as he nearly got sent into that inside wall after making contact with Hoyle.
And it looks like they're going to make contact again coming off turn number 4 there. Rex Hoyle and Sean Cool not playing nice. Rex Hoyle really trying to get to the inside lane, just not able to find a hole just yet. Rex Hoyle now shown back in your 8th position because Sean Cool has the nose on him going down the backstretch. Going down into turn number 3. Let's see what happens here between these two drivers once again. As I look through the whole field, it looks like everybody's pretty much single filed out just right here. Rex Hoyle still not able to find a position. Can he get down right here in front of the number 20 of Justin McDuff? He will not. McDuff going to throw the number 20 there to the inside on Rex Hoyle, putting Rex Hoyle down another position. Now have Rex Hoyle showed in the 9th position. Now he's going to be able to slot right in front of the number 90 of Matt Roll. So Rex Hoyle, after putting 9 hard laps on the outside lane there on his tires, finds a home, going from 2nd all the way back to the 9th position.
And I think he definitely had an opportunity to get himself into the rest of the line when Chris Stump was there, because he was clear of Stump, but he just made really no defensive move to the inside when they were coming up the corner. It just kind of allowed Chris Stump to put his nose in there. He just kind of stayed himself glued to the outside as if he was trying to run his normal line and didn't really defend at all. And also the same thing happened once the 20 of McDuff kind of caught up to him. He was clear of the 20. He had an opportunity to keep that position, but just didn't defend at all for that car, and kind of put himself in a bit of a difficult situation just on the bottom end of our top 10 now, as a little bit of cloud cover rolls out on the racetrack, allowing these guys to get a bit more grip. Will Dravicki continues to lead, though that lead has shrunk a little bit, as he's now sitting about half a second up over the 70 of Dylan Canova.
And look at the guy right behind Dylan Canova sitting in that 3rd place right now, the 69, and Matt Cucker just kind of riding back there. He knows it's a long race. 125 laps is the scheduled lap count for tonight's event, and he knows it's a long one, it's a hot one, so just kind of sit back there, ride, keep the leaders right where you can see him. Running in your 4th position right now, it's the number 98 of Chris Stump. Right behind him, going to be the number 2 of Steph Marinac. Right behind Marinac, running in your 6th position, though, the 13 of Guillaume Fortin. Everybody's pretty much single file out. Looks like the number 24 is Sean Cool. That time off turn number 4 was into the outside wall a little bit. You saw a couple sparks fly on that one. He's going to be able to hang on to her right now, and he'll continue on in the 7th position.
And he's challenged all over the rear bumper of that 13 machine, but hasn't made a move just yet, possibly hoping for Guillaume to make a bit of a mistake. Some coming back out now, as this track will heat up a little bit, as we saw in qualifying, and will probably, with all these cars running around it now, it's probably going to get even hotter than in qualifying if the sun stays out here for a little bit longer. As I think we saw in qualifying, it got up to 114 degrees with only 5 or 6 cars running at a time out on the racetrack. And now that we've got over 20 out there, that inside line is going to be absolutely blistering. So these guys are going to have to move back to braking points and go a bit slower through these corners once this track heats up.
Yeah, right now still single file throughout the field here. Little update on the 96 of Al Smith Jr. Al Smith, started shotgun to the field here. Right now finds himself running in the 19th spot, so hasn't really been able to make too much headway. That's one of your championship 10 drivers here in the chase. So he's right now your farthest one down on the charts here tonight. So he's got a lot of ground to make up. It's still early on in the event, but sometimes it's got to go. Right ahead of him, though, 22 of Mike Holtzclaw, and then another chase contender, number 12 of Brian Rogers Jr., buried back here in the back of the field.
And we're going to talk about another championship, and that's the one that is going on for the Best of the Rest award for the driver that finishes 11th place in the championship points. Currently sitting there is the 70 of Dylan Canova, who just barely missed out on the chase. And Dylan Canova currently running in 2nd place after starting in 3rd, so this track is definitely working out for that 70 machine for the time being, but he's still trying to reel in Will Dravicki, and Will kind of opened up that gap just a little bit more these last few laps, up to 0.6 of a second, and pretty much even between the 30, the 70, and the 69, as they're all about 0.6 from one another, as the Matt Cucker sits just behind Dylan Canova.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we can zoom in on the 69 of Matt Cucker. I'm not sure, Kelly, does it look like the 69 has been up into the outside wall at one point? Is that right front fender a little crinkled to you?
It definitely looks a little crinkled to me. He's probably tagged that outside wall, and we gotta wonder just how hard he hit that wall. And if he just kind of nudged it and just kind of crinkled up the bodywork, it's not too bad. But if he hit it hard enough to bend the suspension at all, that could affect his handling a little bit, and that might make that right front burn off a little bit faster. As we mentioned, this is a series where you're not allowed to replace tires at any point in the race. So if we have a caution, it doesn't matter. They can only come down for repairs, not for fresh rubbers. So he's going to make those tires last the whole time as he scrapes that wall once again. Luckily that time just taking off a bit of paint.
Yeah, I was just watching timing and scoring, and he was about a second back from Will Dravicki, and right now he's sitting 1.7 seconds. That's what made me kind of notice and look to see if there was any kind of damage on the 69, and you could see it and definitely tell by the way that Chris Stump and Steph Marinac and Guillaume Fortin have caught Matt Cucker. So Matt kind of struggling right now at the early portion of this race, even though he does sit in the 3rd spot.
And if it has affected his lap times already, it's only going to get worse. As if it's bad enough, if it's kind of knocked out the toe of that right front, it could wear that thing down faster. And even by the end of this, he might not be able to turn. As this could be some really some championship changing damage here. Is Stump now trying to chase him down, and Stump is able to gain a few positions on Cucker and maybe get some of those bonus points that we have, that he might be able to really close the gap on that 69 car in terms of championship points.
Yeah, because those are the two drivers that are 1 and 2 right now in your points, like you said. But just kind of paging through the field, everybody looking pretty stout right now. Everybody's single file, kind of just trying to turn some laps, and you know, that's pretty much what they're doing right now. Not much more to say on that, but Will Dravicki's still out front. He has opened up that gap now just a little bit. It's just shy of 1 second over the number 70 of Dylan Canova. So Will Dravicki right now found the groove and is able to run away. The question is, though, with the track temp being so high and it being a 1-lane groove track, is Will Dravicki pushing too hard too early, or is he just kind of out there cruising, riding around, running his own race? Because with no pressure from behind and no pressure from front, he can just go out there and run his pace.
He's only running a few hundredths faster than Canova. Canova, that lap time actually running almost a tenth slower than Dravicki, so Dravicki is putting down some fast lap times, but Chris Stump and Steph Marinac as well putting down times that can rival Dravicki, so these guys are kind of closing up to Matt Cucker, so they might be able to start putting some pressure on him soon. And if Cucker makes a mistake, I think the 98 is just about close enough to really be able to pounce on that mistake. So Cucker really has to see, hopefully that damage isn't too detrimental to that right front of that car, because got some guys that are just itching for a chance to take him down.
And with it being a 1-lane groove track, you got to think, how long will Chris Stump sit behind him? You know, there is about a car length, 2 car length gap that time going down the straightaway, but look at timing and scoring now. It's up to a 2-second lead there for Will Dravicki now over these guys, and they got a whole freight train of cars behind Matt Cucker, so if he is damaged and gets pushed to the outside lane, he's going to get freight train and might end up going all the way back to about the 9th, 10th position.
Well, there's a few tenths of a second now between Stump and Cucker, and Cucker has turned it on now as he's opened up that gap to Chris Stump, and it now seems like that the 69 car is pushing, as he's closing up that gap to Dylan Canova. So it may have just been that Matt Cucker was kind of biding his time, because he is just absolutely flying now compared to the rest of these guys. He's opening up a gap, closing the gap in front of him, and he's going to be challenging Dylan Canova any time now. I think he may have just noticed how far Dravicki was getting ahead, and now kind of realizes that he can't just cruise around and wait for that 30 car to run out of tight rubber underneath of him.
Yeah, sometimes you got to ask yourself, does Matt Cucker, is he playing possum right now? He may have been laying back and playing possum for a little bit there on us. Now he's coming towards the front as he's closed the gap even more now on Dylan Canova. So we're just going to have to keep an eye on that and see where these drivers end up. But just behind them, you know, Chris Stump still running in your 4th position there. Steph Marinac is looking to the inside. I've been watching Chris Stump there a couple times now. He's just kind of missed the groove a little bit going down into the corner. And Steph Marinac has been peaking, just not able to really get it, or get that nose underneath going into a corner. So, you know, Chris Stump still hangs on to 4th. Steph Marinac in 5th. Guillaume Fortin in your 6th position. Sean Cool, after dancing with Rex Hoyle and the wall there a little while ago, finds himself hanging on to 7th. Justin McDuff runs 8th. Rex Hoyle back to 9th, still sitting there. And Matt Roll going to round out your top 10 right now as AJ Hamilton.
Here comes the 69. He's going to take a look to the inside of the 70 as he set him up for a few corners there, kind of running a bit of a crossover on that 70, and now he is going to make that pass stick as he kind of would sit on the high side in the entry of 1 and 3 and then dive to the inside off of 2 and 4, and eventually it did work out for him as he got a bit of a better run than the 70, was immediately able to pull up alongside of that 70 machine and make a nice clean pass. But as that short little battle happened, it did kind of close up the rest of these guys, but I think Cucker did a good job of making that battle as quick as possible, so it didn't allow the rest of the field to kind of catch him. Oh, contact between the 13 and the 98 just behind them, and the 98 is going to spin sideways. Caution is going to fly. We're going to get our first caution of the day after an incident between the 13 machine of Guillaume Fortin and the 98 of Chris Stump. A couple of chase contenders taking each other out.
We're going to go to our MaxSpeedTV replay here and watch this once again as these guys make heavy contact and go around here. As you can see, Guillaume in the 13, the 98 of Chris Stump working their way down the front stretch here as Guillaume's going to look underneath the 98, and I just do not believe that Stump knew that Guillaume was there as Guillaume tried to put it in a hole that kind of opened up last second. We see these guys make a contact, spin down into the pit lane, but it is enough to bring out the caution here as we go from the blimp. You can see just some hard, close racing here at Martinsville. One guy not understanding where the other's going to go, and contact is made.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a late move into the corner as they were kind of pretty much halfway through the corner by the time that he was able to get his nose inside. And wasn't quite all the way down to that curbing, so I mean he had a bit of possibly had enough room. It looked like he had a bit of a car width there if he stuck it all the way down to the curbing, but I think that 13 machine just went a little bit too hot into the corner to really be able to work with the space that he had. And looks like Guillaume is going to claim that penalty, so he will be sent to the end of the longest line. And I think that's going to put him back where Chris Stump is. Stump is all the way back in the field after, I think when he got spun, he got put through the tail end of pit road, and that gave him an EOL. It was cleared by race control, but he will already have been sent to the back, so that is going to put the 98 and the 13 at the end of this field. And we saw that is he here? 96 of Al Smith. He started in 23rd on this race and was able to get up to 18th by the time this caution flag flew. So there is a chance for that 19 and the 98 and the 13 to be able to make their way up to the field, but it is going to be very difficult. But one thing to pay attention to is now Dravicki is going to have his lead erased as Matt Cucker going to be starting up alongside him. Pace car now down and away. Gotta wait till turn number 4 before these guys fire. And Dravicki going to get a good jump there as the green flag will now wave, and Canova will actually have a nose possibly to the inside of the 69 machine, but Cucker going to try to throw it along that outside, try his best. He is going to get that car hooked up, and he's actually going to be able to hold on to the outside, now make a move to the inside for the race lead. 69 machine of Matt Cucker throwing it along the inside through turns 3 and 4. Going to go door to door with that 30 machine, but that 69 of Cucker is going to be able to get the power down earlier. And he's going to have a nose at the line, but he hasn't cleared that 30 car just yet. And look at Steph Marinac also trying to hang on the outside because he doesn't want to let the 69 get away. Contact between the 30 and the 69. That's going to shove the 30 up the track. And we're going to go 3 wide. 3 wide for the race lead into turn number 2, or turn number 1, I believe that is. And that is going to cost the 2 machine. Sorry, that was turn number 3, but that 2 machine is going to get in the wall, and we're going to go 3 wide again into turn 1.
Yeah, a bunch of 3 wide racing, hard racing here towards the front. Steph Marinac, though, going to go door to door now. We're going to go 2 wide. Steph Marinac and Sean Cool. Sean Cool to the inside going into turn number 4 here. Let's see who's going to be able to battle that out. Right behind them, though, it's also going to be Dylan Canova and World Dravicki, who are door to door at the line. Give it to the number 2 as Steph Marinac. Marinac has the 2nd position into turn number 1. Though Sean Cool's going to fight back. He's going to drive it in real hard that time. Looks like 24 is Sean Cool going to get a good run off the inside. But right on the outside, Steph Marinac going to fight back right alongside them. 2 hard-nosed racers towards the front of this field here, and not willing to back down at any moment. They're going to drive this door to door as long as they can. Steph Marinac will drive the wheels off that number 2 Florida Gators machine on the outside.
The only problem is the longer these guys battle, the more that Matt Cucker can pull away from them. He hasn't really pulled much of a gap. I think he may almost be kind of laying back a little bit, saving his tires, just knowing that those the 24 and the 2 aren't going to be as fast as they stay door to door. But those guys are pretty much caught up to the bumper of the 69 car. Matt Cucker just kind of keeping himself just out of touch of those 2 guys. Now starting to open up a bit of a gap, but the 2 and the 24 still not giving up. Bit of contact back in the field as there's a bit of an accordion effect, but everyone is staying pointed in the right direction.
AJ Hamill actually looks to be up against the inside wall along with the 90 of Matt Roll. Looks like they got caught up coming off turn number 4. Maybe a little, somebody got a little bit of that curbing and kind of shot up the track maybe a little bit. KR, though, we're going to throw it to you. Tell us what you saw there coming off turn number 4 between those two drivers.
Well, guys, we're going to have to go to our MaxSpeedTV replay and figure out exactly what happened here, as that 18 machine is in a big old plume of smoke. But as we see here, the 18 of AJ Hamill running tucked in right behind the 20 of Justin McDuff, an accordion effect, and the 90 of Matt Roll trying to find somewhere to go as that accordion effect takes place. And that is going to put both the 18 and the 90 on the inside wall.
And now what this caution is going to do is it's kind of going to shake up our positions just a little bit, as Sean Cool had his nose ahead of Steph Marinac. It's going to put him in second, but Matt Cucker, he is going to have lane choice when it comes to this restart. So he could start on the outside if he wants to get himself a good jump and the better line through into turn 1, but looks like he is electing to take the inside line, I believe that is.
Yeah, so interesting, because we have seen those two drivers at the front of this field kind of help each other out throughout the season. Maybe because it's time to man up here in the playoffs. It's every man for himself. So Matt electing here. Let's see at the line. Is he truly gonna take the inside lane? Oh, we didn't get the 1 to go. I thought we were coming to 1 to go that time. So, I mean, looking back through the field here, though, a little while ago, we had Chris Stump end up going around off the front bumper of the number 13 machine. He finds himself right now running in that 17th position, and the 13 of Guillaume Horton finds himself right now running in the 19th position. So those drivers not really able to make their way too much farther front, as there's still a lot of damage on Chris Stump's machine. So, got to wonder now how much is that going to affect driver number 98.
We've been talking about the 96 Al Smith, one of our chase contenders who started the furthest back out of not only just the chase contenders, but of everyone. He started last on the field after an issue in qualifying. He now finds himself all the way up into 13th, but lights are out on the pace car. It looks like Matt is actually electing to take the outside line. I believe he was thought he was signaling to be the inside line a couple laps ago, but he is actually going to be on the outside, which is kind of what I expected from him. He likes to start on the outside to get a good jump, clear the guy on the inside, and be able to run his fast line through the turns 1 and 2. Pace car now down and away, and Matt looking like he's getting a little bit too fast through the last corner there, as he kind of had already cleared the 24 before the green is out, but no one's calling for it just yet. But green is out on the racetrack, and we'll see what these guys can do. The 69 leading over the 24, the 2 and 30 side by side going into turn number 3, and neither one wanted to give up an inch. That 2 car wanted to chase down the 24 and the 69, so he's trying to hold off Will Jervicki. And Jervicki, not one of those chase contenders. He's a guy out there trying to play spoiler. He is going to lose out to that 2 car. Steph Marinac had the more dominant inside line.
Yeah, you talk about spoilers, though. Look at the guy sitting in your 5th position now. Rex Hoyle finds himself now back up inside the top 5 after being freight trained and hung out to dry on the outside lane on the start of this race. Dropped all the way back to 9th position, now finds himself back up inside the top 5.
On Cool now trying to chase down that 69 car, but at the same time he has to hold off pretty much the rest of the field as everyone's bunched up behind him. Steph Marinac trying to find a way around that 24, as he knows those 2 drivers in front of him may work together just a little bit to hold him off. So he's trying his best to chase down Cucker, but Sean Cool is kind of just running blocker for the 69 car right now.
Yeah, like we said under caution, those 2 drivers are known to work with each other, and right now they're out front working together. And the question is, are they really working together, or is Sean Cool really trying to run down Matt Cucker? Something that we're going to have to watch here develop as the race goes on. Looking through the field, it doesn't look like any battles really. Actually, if you look back here in the 17th, 18th position, looks like AJ Child is now stuck on the outside, and it looks like Guillaume Fortin going to get around him, and so is the 18 of AJ Hamill. So a couple of those guys who were towards the back of the field making a couple passes, but everybody single files out once again.
I think these 2 Team Vincier teammates up front are definitely working together. I think Sean is making his car as big as possible. Going to be trying his best to hold off Steph Marinac. And It looks like Steph might be just a little bit faster than Cool, but can't quite find a way. Now he's going to lay the bumper to the 24 car. He's actually going to turn the 24, and he's going to get turned as well. Both those guys are going to hold on to it somehow, as the two just got a little bit too much to the corner of that 24, turned him a bit sideways, and then Dravicki caught the rear end of Marinak and nearly turned Marinak around. Somehow both Cool and Marinak saved their cars and are able to keep racing, but that was definitely a close moment for both those guys. Dravicki giving another shot to the rear end of Marinak.
Yeah, as that battle happened there in that big checkup, a lot of these guys actually ended up rear-ending each other, and if you look through the field, there's a lot of damage actually done to the back bumper of the number 20 of Justin McDuff. And then if you look at the number 12 of Brian Rogers, those two guys really made hard contact along with the 61 of Danny Dubuque. So it's a bottom lane track, bumper to bumper, just kind of following each other around. And when something like that happens, there's no room, no time to react for any of these drivers, and everybody just piled into each other. Everybody was able to hang on and save it, as we still are under green, but a lot of damage done to a lot of these front ends, so you might have to watch maybe for a little bit of overheating depending how much damage was done to a lot of the cars, because it's
Marinak now trying to make a move on the 24, and he nearly gets turned sideways. They bang doors off turn number 2 as these guys are battling it out for second place. Sean Cool trying to keep Marinak behind him and help out his teammate, but these guys are still grinding doors as those two bounce off each other again through turns 3 and 4. Now the 2 car are gonna dive into the inside once more. Still going to lean on that 24 car going through turns 2, as they are now going to be almost even up going down that back straightaway. Now Marinak going to have that dominant inside line as Sean Cool trying to see if he can get on the throttle just a little bit earlier than that 2 car, but now Marinak going to have the advantage on the front straightaway. Now it looks like Sean Cool is going to back out. Now slot in behind Marinak before Dravicki could catch up and end up closing off that one gap that he had behind the 2 car. So definitely a call of a self-preservation call by the 24. Going to try to go after that 2 a little bit later and hopefully kind of avoid being freight trained like we saw what happened to Rex Coyle at the start of this race.
Yeah, so Sean Cool pretty lucky there, as he was able to get down in front of the 30 of Will Dravicki and not lose any more positions. Right now follows the number 2 there, Stefan Marinak. There for a moment, it looked like Sean Cool was really trying to push it hard and almost got a little bit of the curbing last time through 3 and 4. This time through 3 and 4, though, he looks like he's pretty solid there. Pretty smooth that time for the number 24 through turns 3 and 4. So Steph Marinak now finds himself in second. Steph Marinak last year being, you know, kind of the class of the field with a handful of wins. No wins this year on the season, so he's towards the front here, and now he can see the leader of Matt Cucker, and now he wants to go after him and knock him off the top spot.
And Marinak is closing up that gap, but at the same time, it's been something that Matt Cucker has done. He has kind of eased up before to kind of save up his tires, and then as soon as the car behind him kind of gets within striking distance, suddenly he just turns on the throttles and just kind of opens up that gap once more. So we'll have to see if Marinak is truly faster than that 69 car, or if Matt Cucker is just kind of holding off as Cucker kind of opens up that gap just a little bit on that last lap. Looks like Marinak might have actually made a mistake through turns 1 and 2 as he kind of exited that corner just a little bit high, and we'll have to see what these guys are doing as they come across the line this time and see if that gap has opened or closed at all. Coming across the line, that gap will have closed just a little bit, but Matt Cucker is kind of holding him at arm's distance at about 0.4 of a second back.
Yeah, so able to hold him at bay right now. Sean Cool able to hold on to third, and it looks like he was down the straightaway pulling away a little bit from Will Dravicki. Will Dravicki has Rex Hoyle all over him, and then there's Justin McDuff, who sits there in the 6th position. Those guys all nose to tail. Still pretty much single filed out. It looks like right now, if you go all the way back here to the 11th position, it looks like James McIntyre Jr. just lost the position there to the 02 of Josh Mayu. Looks like Al Smith Jr. almost here in contention as he's running the bottom. Looks like James McIntyre really having an issue, is actually right in front of them. They're going to go door to door. The 02 of Josh Mayu going to look to the inside here of Danny Dubuque. Looks like Josh Mayu having a top 10 car so far through this one. His first top 10 of the year, so he's trying to hang on. It looks like he got a little loose that time off the corner, not able to complete the pass. He's going to fall in right behind the 61 of Danny Dubuque.
Yeah, there's definitely some problems for James McIntyre Jr. as he's been staying on that high side, letting pretty much everyone else go by. He may not be able to just have the speed compared to everyone else, so I don't know if he's just kind of got a problem or if he's just kind of laying back for now. But we're over halfway through this race. These guys have to start making the kind of getting rid of the self-preservation moves and trying to move their way up to the front. As there's not too much time left in this race, and now we see the 98 of Chris Stump make his way past him as Stump and the 13 of Guillaume Fortin got into each other earlier on and moved themselves back to the end of the field. As now looking back up towards the front, Matt Cucker is opening up that gap over Steph Marinac, and I think the damage that we saw to Cucker earlier on has not really affected him at all, as he's still able to hold on to his gaps over everyone else and still run the fastest laps of this race.
Yeah, opening up a little bit larger of a gap for Matt Cucker right now over Steph Marinac. Sean Cool still sitting there. Now the question is, how much tire did Sean Cool burn up there trying to hold off Steph Marinac? Because right now he's lost about 1.5 seconds to Matt Cucker, as he's still right in front of Will Dravicki. So, as he actually is able to open up a little bit of a gap between him and Dravicki right now. Looking back, though, I'm still following the 81 of James McIntyre Jr. He's still continuing to slide through the field as he's side by side with Guillaume Fortin right now, and that's a battle for your 15th position. But when James McIntyre started his slide there in positions, as almost real close that time between the 13 and the 98. The 13 almost underneath the 98 of Chris Stump that time going down into turn 1. They were able to make it work. Guillaume was able to hit the brakes before diving and making it 3 wide into tight number turn 1. They're going to go side by side now. It looks like a little contact that time off turn number 4 for Stump. And I believe that's going to be 22 of Holtzclaw there for 13th and 14th position.
And Chris Stump trying to make up as many positions as possible, as that spin was definitely a costly one, as it could wind up biting him in terms of chase standings. As he came into this race 2nd place in the chase, and now with Cucker already leading this race, he's got to get a good finish if he wants to hold on to any sort of hope of chasing down Cucker in the standings. And get a bit of a slide on that last corner though, so that 22 of Holtzclaw still holding on to that 13th position. Now it looks like the 98 is going to get clear, and there goes the 13 following him through that spot, going to get around Holtzclaw as well. So Stump now up to 13th place. He's still got a long ways to go, but there is still a little bit of time left in this race, as we're only going on lap 79 at the moment.
Yeah, big check up there between the 13 there of Guillaume Fortin and the 18 of AJ Hamill. AJ really gave Guillaume a shot there. Wasn't expecting the 13 to really check up as much as he did. There's contact right behind these guys. It looks like McIntyre was turned around as he's going to hit the inside wall. He's going to gather it up, but he was all sorts of out of shape coming off turn number 4 there, and he's going to lose a lot of positions. He's going to go now from the 18th position all the way back to 22nd, and Paul Henley now looking to his outside to possibly take that 22nd position. And there it is. Paul Henley going to take the 22nd position. James McIntyre now going to be the last place car sitting in your 23rd position.
Yeah, there's got to be some problems for that 81 car. It looks like the front end of his car is banged up a little bit, so he may have got some damage underneath the hood, or possibly some damage to the suspension. That car is running slower than it was been running all day, so definitely some problems for him. Quick look up at the front of the field. Matt has opened his gap up to almost a second, and I think the reason for that is, take a look at his line as he goes to the corner. He's actually staying about a lane up, and now Steph Marinac starting to catch on to that, as he's able to kind of carry a bit more speed into the edges of the corner because that bottom lane is just so hot. I think the track surface is now 122 degrees, so that inside line is just so hot that trying to brake on that inside line is going to kind of cost you time. So he's kind of running that high line, using that a bit more grip to kind of carry more speed into the entrance of the corner. Then he dives down through the turns 2 and turns 4 to get a good launch off of the corner down the straightaways. And I think that's a reason why he's opened this gap up to over a second now over Steph Marinac. Steph trying to kind of emulate what Cucker is doing, but not quite able to do it to as good of effect.
Yeah, Cucker really dominating the middle section here. It looks like Cucker's been able to lead 42 laps so far of this one. And, you know, the question is, does anybody really have anything left for Matt? As, you know, Steph is the closest one, and then Sean Cool right behind him. And we've seen both those drivers battle each other really hard. So the question, do they have anything left in the tank? And now Matt Cucker, it looks like just in a lap or two, he's going to be battling here with James McIntyre Jr. As you know, we talked about James really backing up through the field and finds himself in the 23rd position. He's going to pull over right here. He's going to let Matt go right by on the outside.
He's not, James McIntyre not going to offer any resistance, knowing that he doesn't have the speed to intend to keep himself on the lead lap. Now going to also let Steph Marinak by. Kind of sticks himself to that inside line and tries to stay out of the way of the rest of the field now. Steph Marinak still holding on to that second place, about 1.02 seconds back. I think that's going to increase this next time by, as Tucker still putting down some decent laps. Now it seems like he's almost easing off a little bit. He's not opening up those gaps as much as before now because of the lap traffic that kind of caught Steph at an inopportune time. Now that gap is now opened up to 1.2 seconds. So fairly comfortable lead for that 69 machine.
Yeah, Matt Cucker out front really just cruising at this point as we come here to complete lap number 88. So 88 laps in the books here from Martinsville. Only a handful left. I mean, the laps are going to click off quick as we're running still right around Matt Cucker. Last time by ran a 21.8. His best lap time was a 21.3. So just a little bit slower. I mean, was he saving tires there through that whole beginning of the race when we were saying, you know, he looked like maybe he was a little bit slower? You know, like, man, he could have been playing possum. And right now he's set sail, so he's showing that that 69 had no real damage or suspension damage done to that car. So he's out. He finds himself out front.
Yeah, now up to a second and a half over Steph Marinak, who Steph Marinak as well holding a decent gap over Sean Cool, who holds about 0.8 of a second over Dravicki, and that's where things start to get interesting, as Rex Hoyle is still close to the rear bumper of that 30 machine, just kind of needs to close up that gap just a little bit more, and that's what he does to that last corner. He's nearly within arm's reach of that 30 machine, so if Rex Hoyle just can possibly gain just a little bit more, he might be able to just kind of bump that 30 as nearly again through the middle of the corner, gets right up to the bumper of the 30 machine and nearly gets into him. And I think if Rex Hoyle needs to, that might be what he does to get that last position.
Everybody single filed out through your top five. Let's see if we can give you a quick rundown through a couple of these guys. Matt Cucker finds himself out front with Steph Marinak in second. Sean Cool has been slowly chipping away at Steph's gap there, so watch for the 24. Maybe he has something left. He finds himself in third. Wilder Vicky right now still finds himself fourth, with Rex Hoyle all over the back bumper of him in fifth. Running in your sixth position, going to be the number 20 of Justin McDuff, and right behind him, with a lot of front end damage there, you kind of, if you put those cars together, you find out where that damage came from. 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. and Dylan Canova, after leading a couple laps, I believe, in the early going, finds himself now in your eighth position, with Josh Mayu running ninth and Danny Dubuque having a good race here, rounding out your top 10.
Looking back at Chris Stump and where he is running, he's got himself up to 11th as he just recently got around Al Smith Jr. Al Smith now trying to hold off AJ Hamill, who's trying to make a move on the outside. And before this race, I wouldn't have said that was possible, but with how hot that inside line has been, or has been getting with everyone running down there, it looks like that's allowed the 18 to make that move on the high side where there's just a little bit more grip. As long as you stay out of those marbles and you can keep yourself where the track is kind of cool, he's able to make the move. Oh, he actually goes in that corner a little bit too hot. Now he's way out of line there. So that 18 there trying to get a move on the inside of Chris Stump, and nearly put himself into the wall, and that's kind of allowed Al to get back up to him.
Yeah, and these guys were the guys who were involved in couple accidents earlier on. So their tires are a little bit wore out as they're trying to come back through the field, and track temp is really hot at this point, 121, 122 degrees here at the late stages. So the tires are pretty much gone away on these cars as Chris Stump has come off the corner quite a few times, sideways hanging on to her, and AJ right behind him. You saw him as he's sideways once again, and Al Smith Jr. right behind him into the outside wall. So sparks are flying for the 96, and then the 18 right in front of him just trying to hang on for dear life at this point, just trying to gain as much as he can.
You want to be where the rubber is when the track is cooler, but once the track gets hot, that rubber gets hot, and suddenly you're slipping and sliding on that black part of the racetrack. And look how much rubber has been laid down on the inside of these corners. Everyone has been running that inside lane, and look, yeah, that's just made the inside of this track extremely slippery, at least from where we're sitting. As it looks like these guys are struggling to hold onto these cars sometimes going through these corners, and it looks very easy to overshoot the corners. We saw that 18 do it just a few laps prior, and we've seen a couple guys make a few errors just going into the corners just a little bit too hot. But looking back towards the front, the 24 has caught up to the number 2, who mostly he's kind of getting within arm's reach of the 2 machine going through the corners, but get a little bit closer and maybe lay the bumper to him. As we saw these guys have a heated battle earlier on, and I think the 24 wants to be able to get up with his teammate and be able to go 1-2 with his Team Vincier teammate.
Yeah, Sean Cool going to close the gap just a little bit more there on Steph Marinac. That time over in 3 and 4, almost able, or sorry, 1 and 2, almost able to, really get to that back bumper. As that time through 3 and 4, not quite able to do it. But Rex Hoyle, if you look back here in that 5th position, still all over the back bumper of Will Trevicki, and right behind Rex, Justin McDuff, right there, along with Brian Rogers Jr. Those 4 drivers have been that way for, I'm going to say, probably the last 50 laps, just nose to tail. As that time you saw Brian Rogers there get a big wiggle coming off turn number 2.
Here comes some cloud cover, so if you want to make a move, now's the time, as you're going to have a little bit more grip maybe on this racetrack, as going to allow that track to cool down a little bit, as it's already dropped 5 degrees down to 116 Fahrenheit. So this is going to help Cucker save his tires just a little bit. And now that it's a very heavy cloud, as it's actually getting quite dark out here because of that cloud. As now it's going to allow these guys to get a ton of grip on that inside line. That might help the 24 chase down the 2, which looks like Marinac might have kind of run out on his tires there, as he's been kind of struggling for speed these last few laps.
Yeah, he's struggling for speed, but the cloud might definitely help him. Right now, the track temp already down to 112 degrees, so it's already dropped 10 degrees just in the last 4 laps alone. So if the cloud cover stays here, these last 20 laps are going to start to get interesting, as guys might be able to tighten things up and battle this one out. Matt Cucker, though, right now has a 2.7 second lead with a bunch of lap cars between himself and the second place runner of Steph Marinac. So Matt Cucker right now, he's just looking to try and finish this one out as we're under 20 to go.
Yeah, all Cucker has to do right now is just go cruising and try to not create any incidents with these lap cars. And as long as the lap cars kind of run in a predictable fashion, I'm sure that Cucker is going to have no issue getting around them. As now making a dive towards the inside of the 41 of AJ Childs, and he's going to get by cleanly and without much incident. As now he's got a long ways to go until Jeremy Watkins. I think right now, Matt Cucker, it's kind of his race to lose. I think even if a caution were to come out right now, he's probably in a better position than Marinac, because I think his tires are just in better condition than the 2 machines.
Yeah, as right now, Sean Cool right to the back bumper of Steph Marinac, gets him a little loose, going to send the 2 up the groove a little bit. That's going to allow Sean Cool to get a run off the corner. Sean Cool's going to go down here into turns 3. He's going to put his nose right to the left quarter panel there to the inside. Now Sean Cool's going to go door to door off turn number 4. Can he use that lap car of Carpenter there as a pick, as Steph Marinac, oh, they're going to go make contact going down into the corner. Sean Cool sideways a little bit with Steph Marinac moving up the track. That lap car of Carpenter had nowhere to go. He was just sitting in no man's land, as these guys are really battling hard because they know it's under 20 to go. They know the track temp is at its coolest at 107 degrees. Still side by side this time, coming down the front stretch. At the line, though, Steph Marinac has a nose over Sean Cool right now.
And we've seen that outside line has kind of been a better line these last few laps. Sun's starting to peek back out of the clouds on that back straightaway, and that's going to make turns 3 just a little bit warmer than turns 1 and 2, as now the Steph Marinac is going to clear that 24 machine. And I think that might be a product of the 24's slide, as Sean Cool got made contact with Marinac, slid sideways a little bit, which is going to overheat the tires, and now he's going to be struggling for grip until he can cool those tires off. As really we saw that was just kind of a product of the lap car just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. As going in, he tried to stay high going into turn 1, but Sean Cool tried to use him as a pick and didn't give that 2 car very much space to make his turn in, and kind of just had to make his own room and bang doors of the 24. It's kind of impressive that Sean Cool was able to hold on to that slide, as that car had about almost a 45-degree angle towards that inside wall.
And and it's not the first time we've seen the 24 Sean Cool have that kind of slide. So now the question is, did he beat up the tires or not? Gonna have probably, maybe, I'm gonna say one more shot at the number 2 is Steph Miranak as they're working through lap traffic. Once again, there's Paul Henley. They have just gone by. So now the next car I believe they're gonna get to is gonna be the 45 of Doug Wysocki. As still out front though, nothing has changed there. The leader is still gonna be the 69 of Matt Cucker. He is a 3.5 second gap over these 2 guys back here. So he's kind of running away with it, and he wants to see this wheel green to the end.
Cucker now passing Mike Holtzclaw on the inside, and gonna put the 22 machine a lap down. Next car for him is going to be Jeremy Watkins. Again, a bit of a gap between him and Watkins, so Matt Cucker in a very good spot. Now Steph Maranak trying to increase that gap over Sean Cool, is knowing that these laps are running out with just under 10 to go at the line this time. So Maranak just has to focus on keeping that 24 machine behind him and maybe be able to go after Cucker next race, because at this point Cucker is kind of gone. The only way to catch him is to hope for a caution and just kind of beat him on the next restart, because there is not enough time to be able to, not enough laps left to be able to gain the amount of time you need to catch up to that car.
Yeah, time is running out, and it's almost ran out now for Steph Maranak and Sean Cool, as Sean Cool is actually starting to lose ground now on Steph Maranak. So about a half a second gap between second and third place. Cool, a couple laps ago, it looked like he was in the wall once again, as there's a little bit of damage on the right front of that machine. So maybe just pushed a little too hard, a little too soon for Sean Cool. But back here, Will Javrecki still holding on to your 4th position. He's having an impressive run here along with the 5 of Rex Hoyle. Those guys have been nose to tail, you know, like we said a couple laps ago, for 50 laps. Now it's probably right around 70 laps as we have 8 to go.
8 to go, and people are starting to push for their positions. As talk about Maranak and Cool having their little battle. It looks like a battle between Javicki and Hoyle is heating up, and now look at Hoyle. You can take a peek to the inside. Javicki going to move over early into that corner there to hold off Rex Hoyle for the time being. But you've seen Rex Hoyle and Javicki kind of be nose to tail with each other for the last, I think, almost 40 laps. Now you get in the lay of the bumper to him. Here comes Rex Hoyle, just going to try to push his way past Javicki, and almost might have helped Javicki off the corners. That gave him a little bit of a shot to get around the corner. And here comes McDuff as well, trying to get himself involved in this battle, as he's going to try to gain a position as well to make up for his race last week. And now looking to the inside is Hoyle, and not going to be able to make a move that time. Is down the 20, going to try to make that move on the outside. And now Hoyle getting his nose to the inside to the middle of the corner. And Rafiki just doing his best to hold off these 2 cars that are just aching for a chance to get past them, as we're down to 5 to go.
Yeah, it looks like Rex Hoyle possibly a little bit faster than Will Javicki right now, and he keeps looking to the inside, and Will Javicki keeps really throwing those big blocks. At what point does Rex Hoyle say, that's enough of trying to block me, I'm going to be coming through you here? Now we're going to come here, I believe it's 4 to go this time at the line for these drivers, and they're still nose to tail. Brian Rogers Jr. back there behind them. It looks like he was into the outside wall a lap ago, so he kind of has taken himself out of contention right now. And here goes Rex Hoyle once again, peeking to the inside. There you see it. Number 30 of Will Javicki going to throw another block, so laps are really winding down now. Now it's really time to go. 3 laps to go this time at the line.
I think Hoyle's just kind of too far back to be able to make the dive to the inside. He's got to try to figure something out to catch up to that 30 machine, to either lay the bumper on him or, a little bit of a slide that time from the 30s. He got loose coming off the corner. That's going to allow Hoyle to catch up a little bit, and that's also going to heat up the tires that 30 car. So that slide may have been huge. He getting loose again off the corner, as he's trying to hold off that car as much as possible. 2 to go at the stripe that time. This is kind of the battle on the racetrack, and that's battle for 4th place. As these 3 cars are all working for it, as the 30 again getting loose on the corner. I think he's burnt off those rear tires. Those things are overheating. They're offering him no grip, as Rex Hoyle now going to look to the inside, coming off the corner, white flag in the air. These guys are still battling it out, holding off Will Javicki, keeping an eye on Matt Cucker as he's now coming down that back straightaway. He is going to win this race, going through turns 3 and 4 all on his own. No one there to challenge him, as he's going to win his doing back-to-back chase races. And looks like Javicki going to get loose off the corner. He's going to hold off Hoyle. Here comes the 20. Justin McDuff is going to beat out Rex Hoyle to take the last top 5 spot as Gravicki got loose in front of Hoyle. Hoyle had to check up, and then McDuff made the move on the outside, and that's going to allow McDuff to get just those extra few points that are oh so precious to him after that first race. But a very exciting finish to a race that had some action all throughout the field throughout the entire race. But Matt Cucker wins once again. That's going to be, I believe, his 11th win on the season, and just some fantastic driving from him.
Yeah, fantastic driving by all these drivers here for 125 laps from Martinsville. We're going to step away for a moment so we can get to your post-race interviews with the top 3. Don't go anywhere. You want to hear from Matt Cucker, Steph Miranak, and the 24 Sean Cool.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway, where we just concluded the Rumar Vinyl Designs 125. Before we get to our interviews, though, we'd like to give a huge thank you to our sponsors for this race. Rumar Vinyl Designs, the race sponsor here. So Rumar Vinyl Designs do all type of vinyl graphics for outdoor and indoor use. Our vinyl products include banners, signs of all sizes, yard signs, and interior decoration. We'd also like to thank the series sponsor, Coach's Corner. Located in South Glens Falls, Coach's Corner is your locally owned and family run by Coach C himself. Open 7 days a week from 7 to 2 p.m. and open late on Thursdays to 8 p.m. Stop by because there's no place like home. Well, Matt Cucker wins at Martinsville, and that's something we've been saying time and time again. Matt, caught up with you, and what was the racing like here at the Paperclip this week?
It was a little bit different compared to the All-Star race earlier on that we had earlier on in the week. I mean, this setup was it was tight, and then it got loose, and then it got tight again, and then it got loose again. It was definitely all over. You definitely had to search for grip all over the track. I mean, I was running the top side, I was running the low side, and it was all about where I could find the grip and try to make up lap time on the guys behind me.
Well, we saw you kind of get into the wall earlier on, got some right front damage, but we've been kind of debating back and forth pretty much the whole race. Was there ever any major damage, any significant damage to the right front of that machine?
No, I saw that I scraped it. I didn't think it was all that bad. I just saw a little scrape, and I was like, oh, we didn't get it. We only got a 0x out of it, so that's why I knew there was no significant damage. I was just trying to save some tires till the end, and then once I got to the lead there, and Stefan got behind me, and once he got within half a second, and I had to go. There was no more trying to save. It was all about trying to extend the lead.
Well, it's your second time going 3 in a row for your race wins this season. Now looking on to the rest of this chase, how are you feeling about your chances now with winning the first 2 races of the chase?
I'm feeling pretty good. I mean, it sucks that Chris Stump had a pretty bad night. I know Sean got third here, so he'll move up a little bit. So, I mean, I'm feeling all right, but I mean, anything can happen at the bull ring when we go there next week. And then we go to Myrtle Beach. That's my favorite track on the sim. So, I mean, hopefully we can come out with a decent finish next week at the bull ring. And then when we go to Myrtle Beach, hopefully we'll be talking to you.
Well, Matt, you should be very familiar with this by now, but before we let you go, who would you wish to thank for this this win here tonight?
I got to thank the series sponsors, definitely. I forget them each and every week, and that's my fault. I'm sorry. I got to thank Team Vince here, Globalcom, iAnalyze, Turn 3 Auto Transport, everyone watching the broadcast. Thanks for tuning in, and I got to thank you guys for putting an awesome broadcast on every week, along with Al and everybody, all the league admins at Upstate. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. Congratulations once again. We hope to hear from you again next week.
I hope so. Thank you.
That was Matt Tucker, winner of our race, 3 in a row for him, 2 back-to-back to start the chase, and now going to go to our second place finisher, going to be caught up with Roger. That's the 2 of Steph Marinac.
That's right, Kelly. I got Steph Marinac down here with me right now, the second place finisher tonight. Steph, tell us how you did it, man. This track it looked really hot, slippery. It looks like you guys were 3 wide at one point, and then at the end of this, it looks like Sean Cool is really laying on the door in the back bumper of that 2 machine.
Yeah, the track changed a lot over the course of the race, which was good to see because it hasn't really done that all season. It was really hot at the beginning of the race, and then I think some clouds kind of covered the track for a little bit in the middle of the race, so it tightened up a little bit, and then at the end again, it got loose. But yeah, there was a lot of hard racing out there. You could, run the outside, run the inside, and there was some checking up, and I kind of found myself in the right lanes on the restarts, and got up there to second, and really didn't look back from there.
Yeah, you didn't look back from there. Were you hoping on the later run here that we might have been able to get a caution flag, that you were going to be able to line up against the 69 of Matt, and do you think you had any shot at him if that would have happened?
No, I don't think so, because I know him and Sean are working together, so I'm sure they would have queued something up, and I probably would have ended up at least third. So I'm kind of glad the way it turned out, and it should be a pretty close battle for second, the points, getting second there.
Yeah, you're going to finish second here tonight. You came into tonight being 4th in points, 12 points back, only 1 point back there of Sean. Chris Stump did have some issues tonight. He finished all the way back into the 10th position. So it looks like you're going to leapfrog Chris Stump, and then you and Sean Cool are probably going to go second and third in the points. What are you going to need here with the next 3 races being the Bull Ring, Myrtle Beach, and New Samira here to close the gap on Matt?
I just kind of gotta hope something happens. I'm pretty much racing for second, and at this point, I'm already pretty far back, and I don't see myself making up that much points. But I'm gonna have some fun from here on out. There's still fun to be had, money to be won, so we're gonna enjoy the rest of the season.
Yeah, as last year you had a handful of wins, this year not having any here for yourself. Which one of those 3 tracks coming up do you think best fits your driver ability and possibly bring home a win for the 2 machine?
I mean, if we could finish off the year with a win at New Smyrna, I'd be really happy with that. I mean, that's one of my favorite tracks, so probably that one.
Well, maybe we can find you in 4 weeks, actually, as we have a week off coming up after the Bull Ring. So maybe we'll find you then on the 28th of February in Victory Lane at New Samira. Till then, Steph, who do you got to thank who helps you out there on that number 2 machine?
Big thanks to Rumar Vinyl Design for sponsoring the race, and thanks to Coach's Corner for sponsoring the series this season. And then big shout out to my teammates at Empire Racing and you guys for doing the broadcast.
Well, there you have it, Kelly. Steph Marinac going to move up into 3rd position in the point standings, and he's looking forward to the final race of the year to possibly grab his first win of the season.
Now going to be catching up with our number 24 and the driver of the number 24, Sean Cool. Sean, it was definitely an interesting race, lots of bumping and banging, and really, was that kind of the way to pass around here, is to lay the bumper to one another?
No, it's not necessarily the way to pass. It's just kind of race how you get raced, and so and that's just how kind of the driver code. So I had to let Stefan go early because he was doing the same thing again in the earlier portion of the race, and I thought he would probably burn his stuff up, and then I drove back to him at the end. I just kind of used my stuff up a lot right in the beginning when I kind of screwed up qualifying again and started 10th, and had to use a little bit to get up to the front and really make some moves when the opportunities presented themselves. So if I had a little more tire, maybe we would have had something more at the end. But no, it's not necessarily how you race here. There's a lot you can do. Just sometimes just race how you get raced.
Well, one of the things we saw with everyone kind of being nose to tail was the accordion effect. And when you're in a pack like that with no brake lights on these cars, how do you deal with the accordion effect?
Well, as a driver, you gotta got to kind of be cognizant of everything that's happening around you, and that's not just the car directly in front of you. And every one of us, including myself, falls short of doing that sometimes when there's a lot of bang bang type action that happens on the track. But you got to kind of look, not just ahead of the car in front of you, but see what's going on kind of in front of them. And there's a lot of times where we're able to communicate as drivers while we're racing when it's necessary, and we can. The ideal would be to try and save as many race cars if a stack up like that happens, and try and warn the guys behind you so they can prepare for it.
Well, with this finish here tonight, you put yourself in a decent position going into the rest of this chase, and I think that's going to move you up into second place in the chase. And how are you feeling with these last 3 races, having to chase down your teammate?
Chasing Matt down is always a challenge like no other. He's doing a great job. He's qualifying well, and he's doing a nice job of being extremely hard to beat. He doesn't make many mistakes in the race. He knows how to keep his stuff up to par and have a little bit for the end of the race and save the tires and keep the temps down and all that kind of stuff. He's good at figuring out where the lines are. So you just gotta bring your A game and try and take the opportunities when they present themselves. And every race is a clean slate, so every race there's a chance, and we'll just come out, grid, line up, and try and get us a checkered flag. We've had a couple opportunities so far this year and haven't gotten a chance to get it done. So with a few races left, that's the goal.
All right, well, thank you very much, Sean. And before we let you go, we're going to give you the floor. And who do you wish to thank for this 3rd place finish tonight?
First and foremost, I want to thank my sponsor on the hood tonight, the Hershey Design Company. It's run by Orion, and he does a really great job with a lot of different cool racing graphics of all different things, between posters and window graphics and painting cars and all different kinds of the superhero cards and God knows what else he can do. So if you're looking for anything graphics design related, especially when it comes to racing, head on over to Orion at the Hershey Design Company, and he'll be able to do that. I want to thank Chevrolet, Skidoo, Pink Ribbon Riders, everybody that's always on the cars each week. I want to thank Al and the guys for putting these races on every week. It's a pleasure to come run. I know I always say that, but it really is. We are spoiled to be able to come run here. I want to thank you guys up in the booth for doing everything you do. Definitely want to thank Matt. He's always a lot of fun to race with and talk with throughout the race. We've done a really nice job working together well this season. Kind of when our backs were against the wall at different times. So thank you to Matt as well, and congratulations to him on the win tonight, and everybody else that puts this on.
All right, thank you very much for coming and talk to us, Sean, and hopefully we'll hear from you again next week.
I'm hoping so. Let's put some runs together.
All right, that was driver of the number 24 machine and our 3rd place finisher tonight, Sean Cool. Now we're going to give you a quick rundown of the standings and see where your favorite driver may have wound up. Matt Cucker wins for the 3rd time in a row. Steph Marinac finishing in 2nd. Sean Cool comes home in 3rd. Will Dravicki in 4th. Justin McDuff rounds out your top 5. Rex Hoyle comes home in 6th. Brian Rogers Jr. coming home in 7th. Dylan Canova finishes 8th. Josh Mayhew will finish in 9th, and Chris Stump rounds out our top 10.
Coming home in the 11th position, the 18 of AJ Hamill. Number 13 of Guillaume Fortin going to come home in your 12th position. Al Smith Jr. going to come home 13th. The 61 of Danny Dubuque, after having a good run, going to come home in your 14th position. 77 of Andy Lambert going to come home 15th. 16th going to go to the number 90 of Matt Roll. 17th position is going to go to the 34 of Jeremy Watkins. 22 of Mike Holtzclaw going to come home 18th. The 41 of AJ Child is going to come home 19th. Paul Henley in the 16 machine going to come home 20th. 21st going to go to the 45 of Douglas Wysocki. Number 1 of Jeremy Carpenter going to come 22nd. 23rd going to go to the 81 of James McIntyre Jr. And rounding out your field is going to be the number 89 of Thomas Mateer.
Well, it's definitely a very interesting race, and I thought there was definitely some action from start to finish. As saw these guys both dealing with each other and dealing with the track. As that track temperature really kind of threw a wrench into everything. As Matt said, he had to go searching for the grip around here.
Yeah, he had to search for some grip. We saw some 3-wide action here from the paperclip from Martinsville, something you're not, used to seeing. But it definitely drew for some action-packed driving, 2-wide, 3-wide. We saw a couple guys into each other, a couple dive bombs going into the corner. And, of course, that tricky outside wall also played havoc here tonight. But all in all, Martinsville turned into just what it was, good old-fashioned one-lane short-track driving.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at MaxSpeedTV. On behalf of everyone, both myself, Roger Muth, KR Stolfus, and everyone behind the scenes at both MaxSpeedTV and Upstate Racing League, I'd like to thank you so much for coming out and watching with us, and hope to see you next week.
The Upstate Racing League hopes you enjoyed this broadcast on MaxSpeedTV, and we thank you for your continued support.